non-lethal. Any pacifists out there? Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Baldur's Gate 3. The good old developer Larian Studios held their panel from HE double hockey sticks, and we found out so much information about the up-and-coming patch 5. Now there's a lot that I want to tell you, but mainly we're going to hear from Sven, who's like the lead game director there. As always, I will share my thoughts. Please feel free to share yours in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to support smaller channels. All right, let's jump right into this. Right now, we're on the website PC Games N. Titled this article, Baldur's Gate 3 gets new features in patch 5, but no new D&D class. Now, we are spoiled. Since recently we got the Druid, we were hoping we were going to get another class for patch 5, but unfortunately, Larian Studios has come out and said that this will be a features-heavy patch and not as much content. The big content patch will be coming on patch 6. So let's see what's going on. Larian's latest panel has come and gone, and boy was it a trip. In addition to more LARPing shenanigans, which we will talk about, than we ever could have expected, we got a whole lot of details on what's coming on Baldur's Gate's patch 5. This will be a patch that's pretty light on new content, meaning no new D&D classes, but there's a pile of new features and quality of life improvements to enjoy this time around. The update launches, here we go, Tuesday, June 13th. So we are literally right around the corner. And a lot of people are hoping it was going to launch today. No, that's not happening, but at least we have an official date, June 13th. Now, this article breaks down everything that is coming in the patch. But thinking right now, I don't want to read this to you. I'm going to allow Sven to give you one thing right now.
One of the highlights for me of patch 5 is the inclusion of what we call the active role system. How does it work? Well, it's very simple. Whenever there's a check that pops up, you can actually ask your character to cast a spell to aid fate a little bit. So for instance, here you can see me cast guidance, and that's going to give me a 1 to 4 bonus on the roll that I need to do. But you could also ask one of the other party members in your vicinity to cast a spell to aid your luck a little bit. And like this, you can stack them, and that can make a very big difference in gameplay. To give you an example, I was playing the game earlier today, and I was accessing the chapel. There's a lockpick check that you can do there, and usually that fails because it has a very high DC number. It has a 20, which you need to match. That's very high. But with the aid of my cleric, Shadowheart, I managed actually to open that door, something that I hadn't managed without cheats in a long time. And so I discovered a completely different way of entering that chapel, and I was very happy to see also that our scripters and the writers had anticipated all of that, and I had a completely different entry point to my adventure. So be sure to try out the active role when you download patch 5. You're going to find that it does quite a lot of good things. Go! Hello.
There's plenty more to come in this video, but first, if you're new here, welcome. Obviously, you have stumbled upon the coolest ARPG site on YouTube, so please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know anytime I drop a video. We also have a full merch store on the channel available under the store tab. Lastly, we have officially dropped memberships for the channel, 5 tiers available. It is the best way to support me and my journey on YouTube. As always, thank you all for the support. In the article, it talked about LARPing shenanigans, and in panel 3 for 2 hours, they did simulated Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay with LARPing. Yes, that is correct, and I will link it in the description below. It's pretty entertaining. Here's just a little tidbit to kind of show you where they were going with this.
There we are.
Well and good. Ugh. But we still need to figure out who's taking the lead.
I have an idea. Let's ask them.
All right, so this is going to be the group of adventurers that...
I'm going to stop you right there, Sven. And in here, you were allowed, if you were watching the stream live, you were able to vote on A, B, C, or D, which is, you'll see at the bottom, the group of adventurers that are going to go into the castle. Group B was selected, not the group that I voted for, but that's totally fine. Again, really cool 2-hour LARPing Baldur's Gate 3 stream. Link is in the description below. Now let's go to Sven so he can tell us the next big update for BG3.
Next up is actually a pretty big feature, which is the background goals. When you create a character in the game, you get to pick a background, so you get to be a folk hero, for instance, or a noble. Well, say that you pick folk hero, and you do something that a folk hero would do in the game, then the game is going to reward you with an inspiration point or with some experience if you already are at your inspiration cap, which is actually also a new thing. But you're going to find that there's over 100 of these goals that were added in the content of early access for you to discover. And every single time you're going to discover one of them, you're going to see them listed up here in this neat, handy background goal UI that was added to the game.
It rises from the stone, hanging in the air in silent offering.
Something that you have been asking us for, and something that we actually were planning for quite some time, is the ability to free Shadowheart in the tutorial. In the past you couldn't free her, but now you can. You don't have to, it's up to you what you do with it, but you can free her, and you'll notice that that introduced a whole bunch of new permutations to the story as you'll try out to play the early access content.
You're alive.
We also added something that was also a very big community ask, and which took quite some effort to do because we're trying to do it right. It is what we call the point and click system. It's very simple. Whenever you're going to click somewhere, your characters are now going to say something, just like they did in the original games. So, for instance, if I ask Shadowheart to walk somewhere, she'll say this.
I must keep going.
But if I ask her to go into sneak mode, she'll say this.
Unseen as I was taught.
Now, the really cool part about this is that they will change what they say in function of where you are in the story and where you are on their character arcs, depending on what decisions you made. For early access alone, we actually recorded for each of them over 800 voice bars, and we're going to be recording much more as we finish, obviously, the entire thing.
Need to keep focused. Onward.
By popular demand, we split up the jump and disengage. This was in the past jumping equal disengaging. Now we have a separate disengage action, and jump it's its own thing. This is popular demand also from the community. You can now break concentration. There's a little icon there that you can click on whenever a character is concentrated if you want to break their concentration. If you're a pacifist player, you don't necessarily need to kill everybody anymore. You can just toggle the non-lethal attacks. If you then start smacking them, you're going to knock them unconscious. So you can still rob them blind, but you don't have to kill them. It's better for your karma. Minicamps is super cool. Okay, so minicamps is essentially the feature that when you go to sleep somewhere, the background setting of your camp is going to match the place where you go to sleep. Remember how in the past when you go to sleep you were always in the wilderness, always with the forest background? Well, no more, because if you now go to sleep into the Underdark, you're going to be in the Underdark. If you go to sleep into the chapel, you're going to be in the chapel. You go to sleep in the cavern, guess what? You're going to be in the cavern. It's fantastic. It really adds a lot to the immersion of your adventure. Took a lot of work because we had to modify all of the cinematics to be able to take place wherever you were, but it was definitely worth it. So it adds a lot to the gameplay.
You did it! You're channeling the weave.
Speaking of camp again, there's a couple of extra cinematics that you'll find in camp. Definitely check out Scratch and the Owlbear. If you ever figure out how you can get and the dog and the owlbear cup into your camp, it's possible. Then you're going to have a very adorable scene as Baldur's Gate 3 continues to improve its pet simulating skills. We've added a new feature that we want to try out during early access, and it's called Camp Resources. So what it means, if you go to sleep now, you're going to be asked what you want to eat. And if you eat sufficient, you're going to have a very fruitful rest, and you're going to restore all of your spell slots and all of your HP if you are, for instance, a wizard. However, if you don't have enough supplies, you will have what we call a shallow rest, and you're not going to be able to restore everything. The reason we did it is because we want to differentiate stronger between short rest and long rest, and so we're very curious to see how it's going to play for you, so do let us know what you think of our camp supplies system. It definitely adds a lot to finding food in the world, and you will notice that as you continue playing the game, the cost of going to rest is going to increase as you level up. and that actually reflects the growing upkeep of your ever-increasing camp in the game. So very curious to see what you're going to do with that.
And we'll fill your front with arrows! Or you turn around, and your backside gets the same treatment!
A strange symbol glows, marked on their flesh, and something within you stirs in response.
And there is a lot more. Now, I'm not going to go through the list of everything, there's just too much, but I do want to share a story with you of how this patch changed my own gameplay experience, and I was really happy with what I saw. So I already mentioned to you that using my active role, I actually managed to open that chapel door, something which I hadn't done in a long time. So I went inside, and as I went inside, I had some traps to deal with, and I had a little fight that I need to do. And then I went to sleep. And as I went to sleep, I had enough supplies, so I ate my supplies. And I was super happy to see that I was actually standing inside of the chapel as I went to sleep, rather than being in that wilderness. It just felt right. And then when I walked outside of the chapel, and I surprised those bandits that are there, something that you usually don't see, because typically you would go from the other side and just meet the bandits in their normal default script setting. They reacted to it. I saw a scene that I hadn't seen in a long time. There was a guy yelling at me, "Hey, somebody's coming out of the crypt!" And I was feeling like, hey, this is how it should be. It's a small thing, but it was important to me. So I wanted to share it with you, because this is essentially the incremental nature of development. Things are starting to come together, and as they're starting to come together, we can start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel of development, where the game eventually is going to be released. So I hope that when you're going to try patch 5, you're going to have the same conclusion, because it is actually getting a lot better.
All right, everyone, that's the video. Larian Studios, thank you so much for continuing to do these panels. I know it's probably a ton of work, but they are very entertaining and very informative. So I think everybody now knows what we are going to be getting for patch 5 on July 13th, which is this coming Tuesday. And I want to know, is there anybody out there that's currently playing Baldur's Gate 3? Are you excited for patch 5? Let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't joined the official Action RPG Discord, please do so. We're now over 1,000 members, great conversations every day. The idea is to create a gaming community that could jump from game to game together, so you never start the server alone. Link for that Discord is in the description. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.